Yeah, so it came off the dyno 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It made 506 horsepower to the crankshaft.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is a Volvo 940 estate and it's owned by Emil. Welcome.
Thank you.
It blew me away when I heard you just drive up in this car.
Yeah.
Because it didn't sound like a normal low pressure turbo.
No.
That is what I call a turbocharger.
Yes.
And a half.
Yeah. It's quite large. It's slightly special. The engine's been rebuilt, fully forged. Pistons, crank, rods, everything.
And launch control
Yeah.
in a Volvo.
Yep. It's got a rally spec. Basically, if you ever seen the old Audi Quattro rally cars, it basically sounds like that.
With the spooling. You can hear the spooling, can't you?
Yeah. And then you've got a boost gauge in the centre.
Warp speed, here we come. Yeah, so you're a fully trained mechanic, then,
Yes, fully trained mechanic. Yeah, that's my day-to-day job. I did the work myself. This is just like a little fun project on the side. I've had it for about 9 years.
Right.
I had it when I was 18.
Yeah.
Just did, little modifications here and there to it. Manual boost controller, high lift camshaft, and then just wound the boost up a bit. Took it off the road about 2 years later. And then started the project during COVID. My first car was a Volvo C30.
Oh yes.
Just a little 1.6.
Yeah,
just
they're quite nice. They're really smart looking little sort of.
Yeah.
Is it a hatchback? Is it a shooting brake? Is it a coupe?
Yeah.
It sort of does all of those things, doesn't it?
It does everything.
Does everything. Yeah.
But yeah, had that for a year, and then this came up for sale. £600 I paid for this car.
What a car for £600. Japan racing wheels, which are always nice. They always do a really good range of wheels.
I've always wanted a 5-spoke, so
5 spokes tend to go really well with 90s cars, you know, whether it's a Japanese car or anything really.
Bodywork exactly. It's rough here and there, some of the paint, but obviously
it's usable. That's what I would call it.
I am looking into getting a new paint job for it, respray, same colour. But
redo it again. The thing is though, when you do that, you'll be worried about the odd scratch here and the ding here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
This, at least you can drive it, you can enjoy it and not have to worry too much about it. That is what I call a turbocharger.
Yes.
And a half.
Yeah. It's quite large.
It's quite large, isn't it? My goodness gracious me.
It's a whole set HX40.
Okay.
Currently it's on 35 PSI boost.
Okay.
Had some slight issues with the manifold cracking, but then we had that welded up, done some more testing with it, and now it's running to its full potential again. How
much horsepower does this produce? Have you ever dynoed it? Or?
Yeah, so it came off the dyno 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It made 506 horsepower to the crankshaft.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. 420 to the rear tyres.
Yeah.
Lose about 80 horsepower.
I suppose it's rear wheel drive, there's a long way to go, isn't there?
Yeah. The differential in the gearbox takes up a lot of it.
Distance is huge.
Yeah.
It's down there somewhere. And that radiator does not look standard either.
No, that's from a company called DO88. Double the thickness of the standard one.
Just look at the welding on it. I mean, you can just see it's.
It's quite beefy.
It's beefy. Yeah. Beefy is a good word. I like that word. Yeah.
It's got a BMW 6-speed gearbox in it, which was built in Sweden.
Manual.
6-speed
gearbox from BMW.
Yep. It used to be an M90 gearbox, 5-speed.
Okay.
They can't really handle that much horsepower, so I went with that option. Contacted a company in Sweden, and they're like, "Yep." So what they do is basically cut the bell housing off the BMW gearbox and the M90 from the Volvo.
Right.
And they weld.
Bring them back together again.
Yep. Bring them back together. Weld them back together, and then they do a clutch kit that you can fit, and it all works.
And it all works?
Yep.
Contact this man. You're on Instagram, aren't you?
I am. Yes. That boosted Volvo on Instagram. Got a few followers on there, but yeah, check it out. And it's got a 530 cylinder head that's been ported and polished by a company called 4-Paw Racing.
Okay.
So we're good friends, and they've done a lot of the wiring on this car. Wiring isn't my strongest point. I'm more in the mechanical side of things. Of
course, yeah.
So they did all the wiring for me and did all the dashboard, ECU, and they got tuned down in Suffolk by Hybrid Racing.
Right.
or hybrid tune, shall I say, rather. The pistons and the connecting rods are good to 800 horsepower.
Yeah.
The engine block has been a quarter way filled in the water jackets with engine cement.
Oh,
so
right,
it's like this,
strengthened.
Yeah, it's a special cement you can buy. Drag racers in America use it a lot. Normally they fill the entire engine block up. It just stops cracking and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I just did a little bit up to the bottom of the water jacket with a core.
Yeah.
And just strengthens the bottom of the cylinders.
Right.
And yeah, helps dampen harmonics and things like that.
Wow. I mean, I heard it, and the turbo, the noise it makes is extraordinary.
Yeah.
You wouldn't imagine that coming out of a Volvo normally, would you?
It's home built and brilliant. So we can give it a go in, so we go high boost.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Right, I'm going to talk to you about brakes then.
Yeah, it's got upgraded brakes.
Yeah. Wow.
They're from an S60R.
Yeah.
So they're 4-pot Brembos all round with EBC yellow stuff brake pads.
Yeah.
330mm discs, front and back.
Right.
So they do stop it very well. No, it is a little bit of a sleeper.
Yeah.
The only thing that gives it away is the wheels.
Yeah.
But
even
the
then,
brakes.
that could just be wheels, couldn't it? I mean,
Exactly,
let's face it, you know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I was struggling to get the oil feed on the turbo correct.
Right.
Because obviously it's just an oil-cooled turbo, and obviously lubricated by the oil, so no cooling it.
Yeah.
So I had a few different pipes on there, and one day when I was driving to work, it was a foggy day, so I didn't notice anything much. And I noticed people were hanging back from me. I was like, oh, that's a bit strange. And pulled off at my junction on the way to work, and all of a sudden smoke was coming through the vents of the car.
No.
So I had a minor panic there.
That's normally not a good sign, is it? No, not through the vents.
No. So then I pulled over and popped the bonnet, and I found one of the oil feed line had melted, and had poured oil all over my turbo blanket. And as I lifted it, it caught fire. But luckily there was an ambulance that was literally coming by 10 seconds later. Yeah. And had a fire extinguisher on board.
Oh, good God.
So it was God was shining down on me on that day.
They stopped and helped you, which is really good of them. Yeah. I take it you've got your own fire extinguisher now, have you?
I do have one in the boot for any occasion,
right.
ready, just in case. So the fuel system's got a AEM 340 in-tank fuel pump.
Right. Okay.
And then obviously the swell pot comes up, and then you've got 2 Bosch 044 fuel pumps which supply the engine from the swell pot. And then it's all braided lines all the way up to the
and that swirl pot is to what does that do?
So it stops fuel starvation when you're doing hard cornering and things like that. If you're into drifting, it will stop the engine fuel starving, because obviously all the fuel will slop to one side. So it's a little separate reservoir that the engine takes the fuel from.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
Incredible, mate. So the interior of this car, Emil, is standard, other than 3 things I can see actually. 4 things I can see actually. Right, so let me start then, what I can see, and then you can correct me as we go. 5 things actually.
Yep.
Number 1 is the Swedish flag.
Yes.
Right, that's got to be there, obviously. Number 2 is a stereo. That's not a standard stereo.
It's not, no.
Number 3 is the gear stick itself, which looks as if it's some kind of connecting rod out of an engine.
Yeah, so that's a BMW short shifter.
And then the steering wheel.
Yes.
It's obviously non-standard.
No, that is from Momo. It's a Momo T-post steering wheel.
And then, of course, the binnacle.
Yes, so that is an ECU Master dashboard. So what we basically did is we've kept the original coolant gauge and fuel gauge. Yep. And then we have mounted a backing plate inside it, which makes the screen recessed.
Otherwise it'd be sticking out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it fits nice and flush, and yeah, it looks like it's meant to be there. I have changed out the front seats. I'm yet to do the rears. Okay. So these seats are from a 940 Celebration. Right,
they look quite special.
Yeah, so they're the same as the grille. The grills are a 940 Celebration model, because it used to have the waterfall grille. Yeah. I just prefer the square grille on there, and the front seats there. Yeah, so I've got a full interior from a 940 Celebration, all of £50. It was very cheap, very good bargain I found there.
This is the guy to talk to. Taking the Speedo.
Yeah.
Is that GPS or is that actually
GPS? Yeah. So there's a little GPS module under the passenger seat. Right. And the antenna goes up in that A pillar up there.
There is that smell of an old Volvo in here,
Yeah.
isn't
So
there?
that proper 90s interior smell,
Definitely.
you just can't, modern cars just don't do.
The thing is, you see, I say two things about cars, okay?
Yeah.
And if you watch my channel, you'll probably hear me say it.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, cars are like time machines, okay?
Yes.
Because when you jump inside them, this was the 90s. This was the styles, the fashions, everything that was going on in the 90s.
Yeah.
You're seeing it here, you're smelling it here, you're feeling the materials, the textures, everything.
Exactly.
And the second thing is, people don't think, you know, if somebody was to ask you and say, do you operate machinery? 99% of the population will say no, because they've got a 9-to-5 job, they're working from home, they're artists, they're doing this, whatever.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a car, they forget that it's actually a machine that they're operating.
Exactly.
Yeah?
That's it.
You've got wheels, you've got levers, you've got all these things that you're doing to move what is essentially a machine around.
Exactly, yeah.
And you feel that machine through your senses.
You do.
And that's
with an
what
older
makes you
car,
a petrol head, yeah?
That's it, yeah.
So if somebody says to you, what defines you as a petrol head? It's your senses.
It is. It's the feeling that the car gives you when you're driving it and you feel connected to it. I always think an old car is so much more connecting than a modern one.
Yeah. Yeah, because you've done a lot of stuff to this car, so obviously it's not standard, is it?
No.
And there won't be another one like it anywhere, probably either, will there?
No, not to this specification.
No.
I wouldn't have thought so.
All I can say is thank you very much indeed for allowing us this opportunity to come and sample this incredible Volvo.
Yeah, there's no problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, you really need to, because otherwise you're going to miss out on this sort of content. This is a complete one-off.
I like to build cars that are one-offs.
Clearly. See you on the next one.
Thank you.